Straight ahead on CCX News, big plans in Crystal that will transform a property that has sat vacant for years. Plus, something new starting to take shape in Golden Valley. And later, dreaming up a home remodel, we stop by a home on the Parade of Homes Remodelers Showcase. CCX News starts right now. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining us. A property in Crystal that's been vacant for the past 6 years will finally get new life.
That's right. The old Thriftway grocery store along West Broadway Avenue closed back in 2011. But as Delane Cleveland reports, a private developer has big plans for this site.
I guess it's a little of an eyesore. You see people a lot of the time just using it as a U-turn spot or whatever.
For decades, Thriftway Foods served the residents of Crystal.
Love the attention you got. In fact, I could always find something.
And to this day, former customers still have fond memories.
It was a good place. It was like a hot little strip there for a while.
It was a good place until the grocery store closed in September of 2011, the final chapter in the 51-year history of the family-owned business.
I was very disappointed, and I kind of hoped all these would fail, but they sure haven't.
Aldi may not have failed, but for 6 years, the property along West Broadway sat vacant, much to the chagrin of people in the neighborhood.
I would call it a wasted opportunity, more wasted space. 2011 seems like a long time. I don't know how they couldn't get something in here.
Yet after all this time, city officials finally have good news to share.
Thriftway is owned by a private investor, and they're trying to bring in three main things. One is a hardware store. It's going to be a smaller hardware store with some outside storage.
The property owner has already built a fence next to the building where they plan to put materials for the hardware store. David Flugie, who lives across the street, is excited about the project.
I think it's at least a mile away to get to Home Depot or something like that, so it'll be nice to have some more options.
Mayor Jim Adams said the site will also be home to a Goodwill and a restaurant with a drive-through. Ultimately, the city is happy that something will finally occupy the space.
That's the benefit of having it occupied, is that you have somebody caring for it, so it doesn't look like blight in our community.
In Crystal, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
There is no timetable as to when the project will be finished, but Mayor Adams hopes to have the new tenants in place by the end of the year.
Well, there's a concentrated effort underway to stop the spread of zebra mussels and other aquatic invasive species in area lakes.
They can come into an ecosystem and take over a portion of that ecosystem to the detriment, basically, of the natural plants and animals that are there.
Zebra mussels have infested Lake Minnetonka and can disrupt the food chain, and officials with the Three Rivers Park District use an inspection program at different lakes to make sure they don't hitch a ride on a boat and end up in Medicine Lake in Plymouth, for example. The Park District will receive a $25,000 grant from Hennepin County to help with its inspection efforts.
Every year through this inspection program, we reach 20,000 watercraft users, and there's nothing that is as good as it gets, basically. That one-on-one contact to help people do the right thing, that's probably the best tool we have right now to fight aquatic invasive species.
Aquatic invasive species often come from other countries via the bottom of ships like those that come into the Duluth harbor.
A New Hope attorney says local immigrants are in need of practical advice on immigration policies. Henry O'Gary says people need to know their rights when dealing with immigration officials.
For example, they don't have to open the door unless ICE has a signed warrant. And so we're advising them to politely decline to open the door until a warrant is either slid under the door or shown to them across the window.
And you can get more information at a free seminar this Sunday from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Brooklyn Park Community Activity Center.
It's a milestone for the new community center that's under construction in Golden Valley. Crews have finished the second level concrete floor. That means they're at the point where the building will soon be watertight, which will allow work to continue inside the building. In the meantime, the city is working on branding for the new center. The city is looking at input it received from focus groups over the past week. They want to make sure that people know that the building will be more than a golf course clubhouse. It will also be home to an event and banquet facility and a new indoor play area, which may be called Brookview Backyard. Parks and Recreation staff members hope to move out of the old building and into the new one this fall, and work will be finished in summer of 2018.
It will take a compromise between lawmakers if Minnesota travelers will be able to use their driver's license as identification at the airport. The Senate passed a version of the Real ID bill last night. Now the House and the Senate must work out their differences, including whether to allow undocumented immigrants to get a driver's license. Maple Grove Republican Dennis Smith remains strongly opposed to that. Smith wrote the House bill that passed in February, but he is hopeful a compromise can be achieved by the end of the session.
Real ID is about Minnesotans being able to fly with a regular driver's license or a Real ID license, and it's not about complex immigration policy. And we need to keep them separate, and that's why I think the House bill is the better bill, and I'm not a fan of the Senate bill for that reason. We need to produce a bill that will not hold 9 million Minnesotans hostage, and I think that we're going to be able to do that.
Smith says if Minnesota's legislation is signed before the end of this session, the deadline for implementation may be pushed back to October of 2020.
A last-minute push is underway at local food shelves to collect donations for Minnesota Food Share Month. Food is the most common reason families first step inside the doors of Interfaith Outreach in Plymouth. The nonprofit has reached 73% of its fundraising goal during March, and they hope to have a last-minute push of donations this weekend that will put them over their goal of $150,000 and 100,000 pounds of food collected.
Basically, donations not only keep food on the table, but also support the causes of hunger. Our employment program and our family support services that are so critical for families who are trying to upgrade their incomes.
Last year, community donations made more than 1.5 million meals possible. Donations during Food Share Month helps food shelves prepare for the challenging summer months when children are home from school and donations slow down. Still ahead on CCX News, home remodeling dreams come true. We'll visit a home in the Parade of Homes Remodelers Showcase.
And then a little bit later in sports, we catch up with the Champlin Park baseball team and preview their season.
But first, Saturday is the better day for outdoor plans. Sunday, a chance for showers. Here's something fun. This weekend, you can think and dream about ways to remodel your home.
64 homes are on display at the Parade of Homes Remodelers Showcase, and one of those is in Plymouth, where we find CCX News reporter Eric Nelson.
This is a complete main level remodel. So the areas that we really focused on here were the kitchen and the living room.
This Plymouth house is getting a makeover. The owners like the neighborhood and did not want to relocate. So they chose to remodel and upgrade their home.
They really like to entertain, so they called us and said, we hate our kitchen, it doesn't work for us, and we need something more open, something more usable.
Jesse Yoakum is with Renaissance Builders. His 3-person crew is in charge of this 2-phase project.
A good way to build equity in your house is to update the kitchen cosmetics like countertops and paint and windows. Appliances.
Yoakum's team enlarged the kitchen by 200 square feet, improving the island, cupboards, appliances, and other items.
We built a custom pantry with a sliding door and glass panels all the way around that allow the light to pour in through the front windows.
They also spruced up the living room and are currently working on a timber frame screen porch, which is phase 2. When finished, this 55-year-old house will have a new look. Total cost, $250,000. Yoakum says the key to remodeling is knowing your budget.
The smartest thing I can recommend is stick within your comfort zone and don't go above and beyond your means.
In Plymouth, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
The Parade of Homes Remodelers Showcase runs through Sunday, and for a list of homes on the tour, you can go to paradeofhomes.org. Still ahead, teachers show off their creative side in a new art exhibit.
But first, the greens are greening up, and it is time for golf. John Jacobson profiles the Champlin Park girls golf team when we come back.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. Thursday on CCX Sports, we had a season preview of defending state Class 4A baseball champion Wayzata. Today, we visit the team that the Trojans met in the championship game in an all-Northwest Suburbs final, Champlin Park. Here's Jay Wilcox with more on the Rebels.
Though the end result wasn't what they were hoping for, championship game loss aside, last spring was a very special one for the Champlin Park baseball program.
For the younger kids too, it's something to work for. Seeing our success last year, I think we were 24-3 or whatever, best in school history. So it's a lot to work for. It's good motivation.
It brings a lot because we know what it takes now to get there, and we know how hard we have to work, and we feel like we can do that again.
You get caught up in the game, and you're really focused on what's going on in front of you, and so it was fun to go home at night and my wife tell me about how many people were at the game and there to support the boys, and so to see the community come out. There's been definitely a change in culture in the community as it pertains to baseball here in the area, but also just immediately with our program.
It'll be a mostly new lineup this spring for the Rebels. Just 2 regular starters return, but they are good ones. Shortstop pitcher Cole Albers, who is one of the best players in the Northwest Suburban Conference, and outfielder Zach Loven. The rest of the guys will be stepping into new or expanded roles this season.
I think we have strong pitching. We have a lot of arms. It seems like defensively we should be strong. To be honest, I'm not sure how our bats will be, as we're losing a lot of good hitters from last year.
I'm very confident in the new guys. We have 2 sophomores, 5 or 6 juniors, I think. So they'll have to come in, step up, make some plays. But I'm throughout tryouts and our first few practices, I'm very confident in them.
We've got a few seniors. We've got about 5 or 6 seniors. We've got 5 or 6 juniors, and we actually have a couple of sophomores that are up with us right now too that we're pretty excited about. Both of them are pitchers and can play a couple other positions as well. So
the Rebels may struggle to match last year's 24-4 record, but the hope is that this will be a team that can contend for a section title when the playoffs roll around. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
The Rebels are slated to open the season next Saturday, April 8th, with an afternoon game at home against Minnetonka. They open Northwest Suburban Conference play April 11th when they faced another state tournament team from a year ago, Maple Grove. Golf courses haven't greened up that much yet, but local high school teams are getting started. The Champlin Park girls are looking for a good season. The Rebels return one of their 2 state entrants from last season, Megan Municky. She placed 30th in the state as a sophomore. All-conference player Emily Schwartz also returns. Rebels were 2nd in the Northwest Suburban Conference tournament and in Section 5-3A last season, and lost just 1 golfer from that team. This could be a pretty good team as the players get their swings back in order.
The only varsity player that we lost last year was Taylor Minger. She was our number 1 and great player. So now she's playing at Briarcliff in Iowa. So yeah, but the whole rest of the team is back. So I'm excited for this season.
I think our goal is ultimately the state tournament. We were close last year, so we're hungry for it again this year.
I am optimistic. We have more girls out. Our new girls have a lot of talent. We lost Taylor Minger, who was on our team for 5 years, state tournament for 4 years. So we certainly miss her. The new talent is great. We have Megan Municky back, and we have 4 other letter winners back.
It wasn't the warmest day when we caught up with the Rebels. It's a fact of life for Minnesota golfers. Dealing with April conditions is part of being a high school player in the area.
Coach Askew is not one for excuses. She's definitely into golfing whenever, wherever. So in matches, it can be cold and rainy or whatever too. So it's good to be out here and practicing it.
Rebels start the season against Visitation at Inverwood April 10th. They'll play in the Shamrock Invitational April 13th, and hopefully under warmer weather conditions. That's it for sports. Mike and Alex, back to you.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, John. Up next, the creative side of teachers.
The new art exhibit in Maple Grove, worth checking out when we come back.
one sure sign of spring is here. It is now brunch season.
It sounds good. Good Things at the Shops in Arbor Lakes is ushering in the season with a brunch, where they are showing off food and products that you can use to host the perfect springtime brunch. The Good Brunch is Saturday from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
It's basically introduction to, I would say, spring, and it's before Mother's Day, before Easter, so it's going to be just a wonderful time for customers to see all the serving dishes that we have and the products that we sell.
If you'd like to attend, you need to RSVP through the store. There are also several prizes that will be given away throughout Saturday morning.
Well, this weekend you can see the creative side of teachers.
In today's Weekend Showcase, Neil Persley shows us a new exhibit that's at the Maple Grove Arts Center.
We have this wonderful show going on. It's the second time that we've done the Teachers Show, which is District 279. And we've got a wide variety of different teachers from different schools and also different mediums that they've used in their art.
The show is at the new Maple Grove Arts Center behind the Costco and next door to the Wedding Day Diamonds in the fountains at Arbor Lakes. These are the teachers that are teaching your kids art in District 279 schools like Maple Grove, Osseo, and Park Center High Schools, or Brooklyn, Maple Grove, Northview, and Osseo Middle Schools. These artists have chosen to teach but are still active with their own creative endeavors.
Well, we've got a beautiful acrylic piece here on canvas. We have some painting on ceramics. We have some fine watercolor, some inks. We have some fiber art. We have driftwood. We have find it all in your junk drawer type of art, throw it all together, mixed medium.
I would say mixed would be one appropriate adjective. So there's a little bit of everything here for everyone's taste.
And it's so wonderful to see what the teachers are doing in their spare time. Away from their children, they spend all of their time with their students, helping them develop their skills. But it's so nice to see that they do get some time to develop their own skills and express themselves in their art.
The quality, skill, and creative level of the District 279 teachers' art is well worth a stop in the Maple Grove Arts Center. In Maple Grove, Neil Persley, CCX News.
There is an artist reception next Friday. That's April 9th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. and the exhibit at the Maple Grove Art Center runs through April 21st. So teachers showing that they can not only teach it, they can walk the walk.
They can do it. That's right. Talented teachers and artists,
yeah,
right?
I like that, the one with the northern lights.
That
I think it looked like.
Gorgeous one.
That could
Yeah.
right over my couch.
Absolutely. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and we'll see you again on Monday.